Hello, Melissa here with you today, and joining me is Bear, our new dog. Bear was being rehomed, and so he has joined our family. And Bear is laying on today's project. I'm going to show you how to make a dog bed like the one that he is currently enjoying. And if we can get him to get up, I want to show you how this opens. Okay, I convinced him to get off the bed, but we probably don't have long. This cover zips up. It was made out of a blanket that he likes to lay on. Underneath, I've used the mattress protector from a twin mattress. Just in case he does something that gets through, this is waterproof and it'll protect the cushion, but I can unzip this as well to wash if I need to. Yes, it's your bed. So I'm going to show you how to make this. Okay, y'all, here are the supplies you're going to need to make one of these beds. I am using like miniature versions of this so that you can more easily see how I did it. And also this way you can adjust to whatever measurement your foam is. You don't have to make the exact same size bed that I made. So you're going to need some kind of foam for the inside of the bed. Or if you have a really large dog, I've also done this for a crib mattress. And the nice thing about crib mattresses is that you can skip the waterproof cover layer because crib mattresses are generally waterproof already. You need the foam for the inside. You're going to need at least one, if not two, zippers. And then you need the top and the bottom fabric. And if you are covering your foam with something waterproof, you also need the cover. Now the waterproof cover and then the outer cover, I made them in the exact same way. So I'm only going to show you how I did this once, and then you just do that twice. Once with the waterproof fabric, once with the outer cover. So let's talk about how to draft your pattern for this. I'm gonna start with my foam here, and what I wanna do is measure it. So as you can see, this foam is 6 inches wide, or long, by 3 inches wide, by 1 inch tall. And I'm going to need to know those measurements to make the cover. I'm going to start by making a square here that is 6 inches by 3 inches. And I do have links in the video description for the supplies that I used, including the foam and this ruler that I'm using to draw out my pattern. So this is 3 inches by 6 inches, which is the width and length of my actual piece of foam. Then I want to add a box on each side here that represents the amount of the depth of the foam, which in this case is going to be 1 inch. So I'm going to add a 1 inch box to each side. All right, so here's my top surface. This is what is going to cover the sides. And then I need to cut out the corners here so that those are going to cover the sides as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a 1 inch by 1 inch box on each corner because that's the amount that is going to go straight down the sides of my foam instead of being on the top surface. Now I need to add seam allowances to where I'm going to sew this to the bottom piece of fabric. So I'm going to add a 1/2 inch seam allowance down this side and continue all the way around. Now, what I need to do is I need to add seam allowances to the insides of these cutouts so that I will have room to sew them. So I'm going to, once again, mark out 1/2 inch. And this portion here in the corner is what I'm going to cut out. So as you can see, for my foam cushion that started as 3 by 6 by 1 inch deep, what I'm actually going to cut is going to be the width of the foam plus the height of the foam times 1, 2, plus seam allowances. So this is going to end up being 6 inches wide, okay? And I've already got my fabric here cut, and you can see it's 6 inches wide for the top. And then the same thing for the length. It's going to be the length of the foam plus the depth times 2 plus seam allowances. So in this case, my 6-inch foam is going to end up with a piece of fabric that's 9 inches long. And again, here is my fabric that I've already cut out. And then I need to cut 1 inch out of each corner so that I can make this box to fit the foam. So I'm just going to mark these on my actual fabric and cut those out. Now, for the bottom piece, all you need is this original 3x6 or whatever dimensions your foam is, plus seam allowances. So you don't actually need the extra depth because the depth is all going to be covered with the boxing from the top. All right, so as you can see for the bottom, what I'm going to need is just going to be 3 inches wide plus seam allowances, so that ends up at 4 inches here. It's going to be 6 inches long plus seam allowances, so that's 7 inches, and here is my bottom piece. Hopefully you can see that. All right, let's go ahead and cut out these corners here, and then I'm going to show you how to sew this. The first thing I want to do is add the zipper onto one of the short ends. So I'm going to just pin my zipper in place. Over at my machine, I am going to switch to a zipper foot. We're going to stitch this zipper in place. And then to get that zipper to meet at the corner, I'm going to put the other zipper pinned to meet at the corner here. So you can see my 2 pull ends are both pointing at the same corner. All right, now that I've got those 2 things sewn, the next thing I actually want to sew is this corner. So I'm going to fold it with those 2 pieces of zipper tape in place. Gonna match them up at the corner here. I'm gonna put another pin where the boxed corner ends, and I'm going to draw my same 1/2 inch seam allowance on here so I know exactly where to stitch. And you could switch back to a regular presser foot for this, but I'm just gonna leave my zipper foot in. Okay, and now you can see where the zippers are going to meet at that corner. Then I need to sew the bottom piece onto those zipper sides. So I'm going to flip this over, and I am going to sew my zipper right sides together with the bottom of my bed. Moving that pull out of the way. Okay, so here is one side that's going to zip. This is the side I'm going to insert the foam through. This zipper's purpose is just to create some extra room here. So I am next going to match up, and I'm going to pin my zipper in place. Start by unzipping this pull, since that's the end we're going to be stitching. Okay, then as you can see, we now have a corner where we have the 2 zippers meeting, and we can unzip them away from each other, and this makes it easier to insert that foam cushion. If you would like, you can also top stitch right next to the fabric and the zipper to help keep it in place. Now what we want to do is we want to sew the rest of these boxed corners. And we're just going to repeat that on all 4 sides. All right, I have sewn the boxed corners. I want to point out that on this corner with the zipper, you only want to stitch to that zipper stitching line, so you'll have a little bit of a free edge here, but that's okay, that'll get sewn on to the next seam here. And that is the final step, is sewing the other sides of the bed together. And in order to do that, first we're going to unzip the zipper some so that we can turn this right side out when we're done. Next, I want to mark the center of each of my unsewn sides so that I can match those up. This is not a big deal on a tiny little miniature like this, but on a bigger bed, you're going to want to match those centers. And I'm even going to do it on these boxed corner sides. So just match up those seams and then mark the center. And note that depending on how long the zipper is that you put on the other side, your center may be somewhere on the zipper. All right, so I'll match those center markings up and I'm going to pin the bottom right sides together with the top cover. Now at the corners, what you're going to do is you want to stitch into that corner until you meet the zipper stitching line. Matching up a center here. And on these corners, what will happen is a little bit of your bottom corner will stick out and you'll just stitch as far as you can with your needle towards that boxed corner as you can. You can also sort of round it off a little bit, and that sometimes makes the stitching easier. Now here, I'm going to stop stitching. I want to poke the zipper this way, like fold it inwards, and I want to stop stitching at the bottom of the zipper. I will back stitch there. And then let's take this over to the machine. I'm going to start on this end. I'm going to start on this end and I'm going to go just past that zipper stitching line. And as you can see, I'm not stitching all the way to the edge. I'm just getting into that corner and then turning. I'm going to move this zipper pull away from the edge a little. But I'm still going to be stopping my stitching right there at the end of the zipper. All right, there we go. I've got the zippers open so that I can turn this right side out. And of course, the turning right side out is actually easier on the bigger full-size bed cover. And then it's real easy to insert the foam because you've got a lot of room. Get those corners onto it and then zip them back up. And that is my little miniature dog bed here. So hopefully from that you can tell how to sew the full-size dog bed. And again, if you are doing this and you're making a waterproof cover, you do it the same way both times. You just sew one out of waterproof fabric and you sew one out of the cover, whatever you want for the cover, and then you let your dog enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this project and you can check out this playlist for more gifts, including other gifts for your dog.